今天是6月24日，小杰呢来到 Gold Coast 黄金海岸赌场，参加 ACC 亚商会1个月1度的活动。今天的嘉宾是大都会警察局局长 Joe Lombardo， 他将代表共和党呢参加这个2022年的州长竞选。他竞争对手呢是现任的民主党州长 Chef Lombardo, so the end of the pandemic is on the horizon. Vegas is opening up, and the number of visitors are on the rise. So, what Metro is doing to ensure the safety of the locals and the visitors?
Yeah, that's an easy question. Our response and our profile that we do with the visitors and the local community hasn't changed. The pandemic hasn't had anything to do with it because we're considered essential workers. We couldn't stay home during the pandemic, so we're out in the field every day doing what we do in the police environment. So it's a simple answer.
Okay.
Nothing's changed.
That's good to know.
We're just dealing with a little bit bigger crowds, that's all.
Yeah, that's good to know. Thank you. And since you have announced that you will run for the Nevada governor in 2022 as a Republican candidate,
correct.
What will be your strategy to win the primary?
Well, first and foremost, I believe in no new taxes. I mean, that's important for people to understand. We got to attract businesses here, and if we change the tax code or profile or the regulatory environment, it will not bring people here. So, and it's important for people to know that we need to diversify the economy. I mean, that's one of the key components here in Nevada because the proliferation of gaming across the United States, we have to look for another source of stability in our economy. And I think it's important for people to realize a stable tax environment is conducive for companies to come to Nevada.
Exactly.
So, that'll be my stance in the beginning. And then the other piece on this is because of my background in law enforcement, it's important for people to know that my stance on this defunding the police and police reform is a non-starter with me. I believe the LVMPD and the other police agencies throughout the whole state are very progressive, and the stance that the Democratic-led Assembly and the Senate, the legislature, has been an anti-police environment. And as a Republican governor, I have the ability to either veto those bills as they come forward or prevent them from even happening. And then you have the pieces with education. So for us to diversify the economy, we have to have a robust education system, and we have to reintroduce early development, pre-K, workforce development, and then also improve upon the community college system.
Thank you. And do you feel positive about defeating the current governor, Sisolak? That's great. That's good to know.
I mean, if I didn't have that confidence, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't take on this endeavor. But I think he's done a poor job, especially in the response to the pandemic.
Yes. How would you like to win the voters of Asian American voters?
Well, what I'm doing here today, I'm here at the Asian Chamber of Commerce. Almost said the Latin Chamber of Commerce, the Asian Chamber of Commerce. But this is not something that's starting. The relationship with the Asian community hasn't started because I decided to run for governor. That's been going on for 7 years as a sheriff.
Exactly.
And, that community outreach has been very robust, and we're very responsive to the Asian community and all their needs, and helping develop their community and their quality of life and the economy. So I'll just continue in that vein.
Thank you very much, Chef Lombardo, and I wish you all the best.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
After 26 years in the force, Sheriff Lombardo retired as a commissioned officer and was elected in 2014 as Sheriff of Clark County and re-elected in 2018. Please give a warm welcome to our speaker today, Sheriff Joe Lombardo.
Welcome, everybody. How are you doing? Good. I really appreciate it. Robert, thank you so much for the invite and the opportunity to address the crowd and give you some modicum of information associated with your police department. So today I'm going to address you as your sheriff, and then later I'll address you as your governor candidate. So the Clark County, or the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department was established in 1973, and the head of the agency will be the sheriff. So a lot of you, no matter where you come from in the United States, you're used to a police chief in the city and a sheriff in the county. And usually the sheriff in the county is predominantly in charge of the jail environment. Then I have the police department on the other side. I have a total population of employees right around 6,000. I have about $1.3 billion budget. So I run in basically a small city. So it's twice the size of North Las Vegas, if you're interested. John got it.
I got it, yeah.
So that's on a regular basis. So what is all that effort and that money getting you? So for the last 7 years, as I've been your sheriff, we've had a decrease year over year in crime. Okay, so in our valley, violent crime is down 9%, which is good. Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you the bad news. Property crime is up 10%.
Ooh.
So that is the first time in the last 7 years we've had an increase in property crime. So what's directly related to that is larceny and stolen vehicles. And that has occurred with the proliferation of the pandemic. And so right now in today's numbers, we're up 22% in stolen vehicles.
Ooh.
So it's important for you to pay attention. So on an average, we average right around 7,000 stolen vehicles a year. So in violent crime, I mentioned we were down 9%, but the troubling number out of that is the homicides. We're up 52% in homicides.
Ooh.
Larger increase associated with gang-affiliated homicides. So what I ask you to do in that space is be aware of that. See something, say something. What are we doing moving forward? Well, the economy's open up, and as you know, about 60% of my total budget is funded by the city and the county. I do about 30% self-generated. And with the economy opening up, a huge portion of that is sales tax that I fund the police department, and we are able to start hiring now. So any questions of me reference what's going on with your police department? Come on, somebody. No, I don't care about marijuana.
So how does Las Vegas compare to other cities? You know, that obviously you kind of kept the riots in control here. We didn't see the destruction like in Portland, Minneapolis, Seattle, things like that. Can you kind of talk about what happened here and how you were able to control that?
That's a great question, and I appreciate you asking it. So we're not seeing the environment that's occurring still on a daily basis in Portland and Seattle, correct? And so that's a combination of a lot of things, but the most important piece on that is the government support of the protesters versus the police department. And it was important for me, as elected sheriff representing you, that you have as much right to go to work. And what has occurred in other jurisdictions is they gave the protesters more autonomy and more free will to obstruct you and your rights, and it was easy to lose control of that. So I had a different stance, and that's how I dealt with it, and I think it was important to be proactive.
Sheriff Lombardo, we see across the nation in major cities where there's a lot of crime against Asian Americans. Can you please talk about what you and Metro is doing to curb that violence, and what can you do to ensure that we feel safe and part of this community?
So I came to the Asian Chamber of Commerce. I had no idea that question was going to be asked, right? So, Duncan, I appreciate your question, and I apologize because I meant to address that in my initial presentation, but I'll address it now. You are correct. There has been a significant increase, an uptick to the tune of 140% compared to last year on attacks on the Asian community. Okay. But I'm happy to say it's been minimus here in Clark County and Las Vegas. We had one incident in 2021, one in 2020, and one in 2019.
It'll be a total surprise to you, but I supported your opponent in the last elections. But I want to say that you are the one politician that kept your promise to lower the violence that was occurring against the citizens, and you did a fantastic job of that.
So then why'd you support my opponent?
I mean, after you were elected, before you were elected.
So I'll address the elephant in the room. Yes, I have made the decision to run for governor, and my official announcement will be Monday, the 28th. And I will probably answer a lot of your questions after Monday. But the important piece for you to remember is I'm still your sheriff. All right, I still have a full-time job, primary job, and I will be your sheriff until next December, not this December, but the following December. And I intend to be attentive to that job 100%. And then the other thing we'll deal with. All right?
On behalf of Asian Chamber of Commerce and Board of Directors, and thanks to Sheriff's time, support, and friendship, and we have little gift for him. We have actually 3 pieces today, okay? Number 1 is a regular one. It's a plaque. And number 2 is what we call golden axe. This one will bring him good luck. Whatever he wants to run, he's going to get it, right? And one of the tea sets.
Ooh.
欢迎观看，我们下期再见。